Underdog Daily with the badge bros. Currently just one bro. Nez is doing a little bit of moving stuff here, so he's going to be joining us momentarily. But I had to start the show. Because we're so back. We are so back. And I mean that not only because hoops is back in our lives, not only because we got that 100K slate today, but because we are back in the winner's circle. Shout out to the community. Everyone took a bath on Sunday. Well, not everyone, but most people took a bath on Sunday, and we got back to our winning ways as a community last night. Love to see it. Jax Brand and Big Fungi both getting their goat horns. Mad shout outs there. And then CR Blake took down a 5K in the Primetime Palooza there. So mad respect to him. A former Dawg Bowl participant, had the good fortune of meeting him last year. So we're back. We are back. And what better way to start it all than with our first hoops slate of the year. I'm pretty pumped. I've been in here. I got almost 50 of them under my belt right now. I think there's a lot of cool angles and interesting things to talk through on this slate. I don't think it's as cut and dry as the projections would lead you to believe. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We got a lot of moving pieces. We got, new additional pieces to the rotation for both Minnesota and the Knicks because of the big trade in which those two teams made there. And then we got new coach. We got JJ Redick on the bench for the Lakers there. How will that impact some of the rotation stuff? I know everybody wants to talk about the potential of getting LeBron and Bronny Jr. on the floor at some point in time this evening. Not enough to matter in our contest, I don't think, but just kind of a cool narrative-based thing. And then you'll have the Celtics raising the banner to kick the whole night off. I added puck to the agenda there as well because 16 game slate today. It's actually only 13 on the site, but 16 games, all 32 NHL teams in action today for what is called the Frozen Frenzy. They stagger every single game by 15 minutes. Very cool thing that the league has set up. Classic NHL to piss down their own leg, though, by putting it on the same night as the start of NBA there. I mean, just a classic all-time NHL move to be like, this is going to be our big day. Oh, yeah, by the way, it's going head-to-head against two nationally televised hoops games and a banner raising. Like, just hysterical stuff from the NHL. But, yeah. Yeah, this is a classic. This is classic primetime Palooza, guys. Yeah, Johnny Football alluding to the fact 3,400 in play and he won $76. I mean, that's more than I did. That's better than I did last night. I thought I we can look at it just before Nez comes and joins us here. We can look at the results from last night there in the NFL tab here. Not a bad loss, but I thought I had something cooking here. I guess it probably would have been this one. Yeah, we were a 1v1. If this is White instead of Bucky, it's 4 or 5K, whatever. T Pastella's up there. Shout out to him as well. T-Box was up there. Yeah, it's like a 3K lineup or something like that. But I thought this had a legit chance because the one that was leading for so long was John Boy Beats that had this exact same lineup. But then he had Evans and I had Godwin. Man, what a tough scene last night for both Godwin and Evans there. Hate to see that. But yeah, directionally accurate, dare we say. It's pretty crazy to think that, some of the optimal stuff that we've gone through in these first couple weeks of the NFL season is Lamar plus Henry hitting ceiling in the same game. Like, just, it's crazy. This is the second time on a showdown slate. Yeah, say what you will about this combination existing, but trust the people behind the scenes there that the vetting was done. And I imagine it came to fruition by Henry going at 2 and then Lamar falls back. Yeah, so Henry at 2, Lamar at 7. Someone does a double tap there. And what probably made this happen, to be very honest, is how highly J.K. Dobbins was projecting. The Auto Bros got in there and started slamming J.K. Dobbins nonstop. And yeah, it really mixed up some lobbies, and that's how that sort of thing happens. But just good to see a bunch of names back up the top that we recognize here. Recognize TJ, obviously, Polka, T Pastella, All Day Ray, who does work, and I imagine will be doing work in the puck streets today. T-Box names, we shouted them out multiple times yesterday for the Tool. Chris is in every damn draft. Just good to see a return to normality after such a tough Sunday for so many of us. Good reminder that the Cardinal rule is always be drafting, because that's that's the only way we can get it back. Let's talk about the NBA slate here a little bit. Yeah, I got some thoughts. Let's do it. Let's do it as a refresher to everyone, or maybe there's some new viewers who haven't done hoops with us before. NBA injury report is kind of like always going to be a starting point for us on normal slates. Comes out every hour on the half hour there throughout the season, and this is just something that you're going to want to be always checking in on here. You're going to want to have the Underdog NBA notifications turned on as well for any breaking news there. But nothing too crazy on this one. We got some center stuff to talk through with the Knicks because Precious is out and Mitchell Robinson is out. Porzingis going to miss the front end of the season here for the Celtics. Don't know how long that one's going to last, but we got some kind of bullish news when we were talking to Mike Zakarian there in the double dribble streets that suggested he might be back a little bit better than or sooner than his ADP suggested. So we took him a couple times there when we were drafting. And then, yeah, nothing overly of note for the Lakers. Vanderbilt will be part of the rotation at some point there. So will Christian Wood, but, neither of them large minute contributors. Might open up a little stuff for we'll talk through it. We'll talk through it as we go here. Macro lay of the land here, just overarching totals and stuff. I think it's interesting because we know what Tibbs does with the Knicks, right? Like Tibbs likes to just play his guys 40 minutes. We saw it all postseason. We saw whatever. It'd be interesting to see what happens now that he has Cat to work with. I imagine Cat's going to play the majority of the 5 minutes there. Maybe Jericho Sims mix in for 15, 16. We'll talk about that sort of stuff when we go to this kind of like next little segment and bring up the lineups. But I expect the Knicks to be a little bit faster this year. And I think a lot of smart people in the community are saying similar. I hope maybe it's a little bit of wish casting, but they were dead last slog in pace last year. And then we talked about so many times on the other side there with the other game environment that the T-Wolves, man, when they had the Twin Towers on the floor there, it was just slow and defensive, and they always had low implied team totals in that 105, 109 ish range. So we'll see what happens without Cat on that side of the equation in terms of defense for Minnesota. And then we'll see what happens with Cat on the Knicks in terms of does this lead to a little more pace, a little more stretch five, a big man who could shoot the three that seems yeah. It's true. That was a stretch, Clay. It was a bit of a stretch. I respect it. That's good. Let's go into the starting lineups and then talk through some ADP stuff. I'll give it a little refresh here. Hop on over this one. Potentially got some new tools in the works for NBA this season. I've been talking with some people and some very cool, innovative stuff taking place amongst the community. Nothing finalized quite yet there, but Nez and I are really intrigued by some potential tools that would really help our game in specifically compared to Redacted. So we got some promising stuff that might potentially be coming down the pipeline soon here for the NBA grinders. So looking at the lineups here, I agree with everything I'm seeing here. We know what to expect from the Celtics by now. I think the most interesting discussion in terms of the Celtics is, do we get playoff Drew Holiday or do we get regular season Drew Holiday? Because they are two completely different beasts. We'll talk about how the Jays kind of cannibalize one another And in terms of ADP, they line up perfectly tonight. So maybe you have to do something to, or I guess not ADP, but in terms of projection on the 2-game slate. So maybe you have to make some adjustments in who you're drafting 102 so you don't keep pairing like Jalen and Jason together over and over again. Not to say that they can't get home together. It's just they do kind of cannibalize one another's ceilings there. I think the most interesting conversation here is what's going to happen at the 5. Last year, we saw Horford and Zinger basically trade nights on, nights off, especially in those back-to-backs. One would sit. Horford would basically never play. I mean, Horford's, 36, 37 now. I can't imagine they're chomping at the bit to come out the gate and be like, here, opening night, Al Horford, get out there, man. Play 32. Like, I think Horford, for me right now, has been my least favorite click on the board. I've been finding other places to go there. But that also then opens up something in the last round. If I feel that way about Horford, do we think they have a big 5 on the floor the rest of the time? And do we think it's going to be Xavier Tillman, who they traded for last year, or do we think it's going to be Luke Cornett? So the projections right now telling us that it's going to be Cornett, but I think that decision is far closer, and I haven't seen a single person take Tillman in these lobbies yet. Is it a little gal brain and a little scroll the F down in the last round? Yes, but if he finds his way into like 16, 17 minutes or something like that, he could for sure be the 6th rounder that you need. Not my favorite current 6th rounder, but just things to think through on the slate from a, bird's eye view, whatever you want to say, 100-foot lens. Yeah, let's talk about the Knicks. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns throws a wrinkle in terms of some of the offensive usage for some players, but they lose DiVincenzo, who we'll talk about in the next game there. Yeah, Cat kind of playing the 5 here and playing a stretch 5 role is very fun. It's he's going to project very well tonight. I'm expecting, Tibbs style minutes right out the gate here. He loves Jericho Sims, and he loves to mix in Jericho Sims a little bit. But I mean, without Mitchell Robinson there as like a true backup, like 5, like size wise, yeah, I think Cat's going to play a shit ton tonight, and that's something we should be very excited about, especially playing against Al Horford or one of these backup 5s to stretch. Dude, okay, resident Knicks guy Nick saying Tibbs does not love Jericho Sims. Tibbs loves Jericho Sims, man. Tibbs loves Jericho Sims, man. It's starting early with Nick. Good to have Nick back in the chat because Nick was traveling in Ireland, but he made it back in time for opening night tip here. Yeah, so where does some of this usage for the Knicks funnel without Randall and without Dante DiVincenzo? Like, it's a very tough decision on whether you want to get over the field on Mikal Bridges or not. Because if we think Mikal Bridges has a similar handling role to what he has had in the past for other teams, he seems like a fun click, but we haven't seen it yet. So it's going to be really hard to decipher how this Knicks team is going to gel. Yeah, Mikal had an awful final game of the preseason there where he went 0 for 10 from 3 too. So just classic Mikal Bridges. It's just so funny to have a guy who we've talked about for so long on this program that, he make or breaks us on so many given nights. And then it's like night 1 NBA. Oh, we're so fucking back. It's a Mikal Bridges 2-game slate. So I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm going back to the well. I can't quit Mikal Bridges. I like the potential of him in the tail end of the 3rd round more than I like pushing up OG in the 4th. That being said, this is a feel-based thing. This is, putting projections from multiple sources together and coming up with a little bit of bro science, because it is purely anecdotal tonight when you're dealing with rotations that we have yet to see, right? So, yeah. That being said, my favorite 6th round click by like as Nez would say, with a bullet, by a lot right now, is Deuce McBride, man. Give me Miles McBride in the 6th over and over again. I think that bench role could be really fun. Now, will Tibbs let his bench play? I mean, he likes to keep these like super condensed rotations and only run like 7-8 guys. But it is a regular season game. It's just night one. I think Miles McBride comes in and has a handling role off the bench. I hope there's a little bit of overlap in him and Brunson, or else it's a bad play. Yeah, but it'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, so this is the thing, T-Bear. Like, this is a really good point here. It's like Bridges is the secondary handler. So now does Bridges run the second unit and McBride isn't as big a part of the offense as he was at like the tail end of last year when they were missing, Randall and such? It's a very interesting dynamic introducing this. So I think that's why it's a good one to talk through. We'll talk through it a little bit more when Nez gets here, just in terms of like, I'd really like to know his thoughts on it as well. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the chat. But the way I've been treating it is kind of like 1A, 1B handling for the first unit with Brunson and Bridges, and then secondary handling was going to funnel through McBride. That might be total fish shit. That might be just flat out wrong, and we have to see it first. So that's how I'm playing it. I come on here. I don't preach to you guys. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I'll tell you what I know. I'll tell you about the research that I do and where my money is being placed. But I don't have the answers, right? I don't have the skeleton key. That's why it's open discourse. That's why we do it like this and we talk through it like this, Yeah. And anyways, to go to the Celtics side again for a second there, I basically think on the Knicks, like that kind of 6 is all playable in our contest. I'm not touching Sims. Campaign could just be like a thorn in the side of McBride's potential like usage and role. That's what that could be. And then maybe that makes my McBride stuff even worse kind of deal. But then I'm basically not touching anybody else from the Knicks. If I get beat by somebody else there, so be it. I'm trusting, the tighter notion of Tibbs rotation, and we don't game plan for blowouts because it's factored in spreads and totals and stuff like that. We don't play for these outlying scenarios. Yeah, the Celtics one, I kind of alluded to the fact that I don't like pairing the Jays together all that much. I don't like Giroux as much as I like Derek White, but that's reflected in the projections on the site as well there. Pritchard feels like a really nice click in the 6th round there. Had a good preseason. Not that it really matters, but just good to see kind of thing. And then the backup 5 run, if I don't like Horford, I should be playing a little bit of Cornette and some scroll the F down Tillman in the I don't think it's as cut and dry as the projection on the site suggests there. I have not taken Sam Hauser yet, but I see the thesis behind it, and I've seen people do it already, like just come out there and get hot from 3 kind of thing. T-Wolves, Jaden McDaniels, good UW boy, is getting clicked at a frequency in which I'm not comfortable. Not a huge scorer, more of the defensive side of the ball, right? This is fucking funny. Thank you. Emo coming in, John can't get away from McBride, even in NBA. That's very funny. Well said. Oh, I love that. Yeah, so T-Wolves, man, I've kind of been like soft fading in quotations. Well, let's talk about combinations first. The combination of Gobert, Randall, and Anthony Davis is going to be repeated over and over and over again because I've yet to see anybody else go 1-0-1 other than Anthony Davis. And I very seldomly see anyone take Randall over Jaylen Brown. So that leads to that 3 combo being paired together over and over and over again. I've kind of been soft fading Mike Conley, and like, I get it. Ball handling first unit. He's 37 years old. It's night 1 of the NBA season. You just traded for Dante DiVincenzo. Like, I'm playing Dante. I think the relative to the projection on the site, I think Naz Reid and Dante are the 2 that stand out the most inaccurate to me. And I am taking them over the Mike Conley and Al Horford tier. That's how I'm playing it. Maybe I'm reading too much into, old guys, old guys, night 1, blah blah blah. Like because the Conley rule was pretty solid last year. We saw it basically all year until the tail stretch. Hold on one sec. But if I'm trying to shoot ceiling, I want that six man. I want that bench handling role. And I think there's also like, I don't think it happens on night one, but I think there's a non zero chance that Dante finds his way into this starting lineup for like the long stretch. Yeah, probably not tonight, but just yeah, things to think through here and how I'm playing things. Ant is Ant. I don't have a crazy good lean. Rudy Gobert, evergreen reminder that the scoring system on our site is heavily favorable for him. And I also think the correlation between him and Davis, like, if Davis is cooking, um, I'm not sure I want it paired with Gobert over and over again, right? Because I want Gobert in my lineup for the stocks, primarily just the blocks, but I want him in there for the blocks and I want him there for the boards. And if AD is cooking, why do I want to pair Gobert with AD? So I just think it's interesting that like the projections funnel themselves to like a stark tier break in Gobert. But if we think about the correlation from a real life basketball standpoint, is like if AD is playing well, there's almost a non-zero chance that Gobert is playing well, right? So if you're using your 101 capital, don't we want to tell the narrative that AD is the highest scoring player on the slate? And doesn't that negatively correlate with Gobert? Now they can both get home, and Gobert can outscore, player number 11, who's like Derek White or Mikal Bridges or someone in that scenario there. But it's just things I'm thinking through in terms of like combos because if you're not going to 150 max this, you got to figure out a path to getting like a little different here. And the easiest ways to do it are flipping some of those like combos in the middle there that are like fractions of projection points different, or to scroll the F down in the sixth round and find, who this next 20 burger is, or not in terms of real life points, in terms of fantasy points in the sixth round is. Nick saying OG no matter what. I mean, OG no matter what is a great thesis in the same way in which Josh Hart is a great thesis, but with more scoring upside, right? Because OG is both 3 and D and does it at both ends of the floor. The stock potential, like stocks just play so well on our site, right? So like the OG thesis is strong. I like that. Yeah. Oh, Zakarian coming in. OG soft tissue no matter what. Oh man, it's starting early, boys. It is starting early. Yeah, Lakers stuff. Lakers stuff is going to be interesting. So obviously new coach in JJ Redick. It's going to be interesting. We can't, for the most part, we can look at kind of like what we have seen historically with rotations with these other three teams. I mean, all these teams were in the playoffs last year. All these teams, not a hell of a lot of turnover other than the swap between T-Wolves and Knicks like that. But Lakers are very interesting because they haven't been healthy for a while, and now they have health on their side, and they have a new coach, and they have some new scroll the F down pieces in the sixth round there that we can tell ourselves some stories about, right? So it's going to be very interesting if it comes at the expense of like Austin Reeves, who goes in the fourth round all the time, or does some of the handling come at the expense of like D'Lo in foul trouble early, or D'Lo rough shooting night? Will JJ Redick have a quicker leash than we've seen in the past to start, get Gabe Vincent some minutes, or to even scroll even further to get Connect 4 some minutes in Dalton Connect, right? So this is, I think, the spot where we find the craziest scrolls that could have like the highest ceilings associated with them. So in terms of like, rank 21 and greater on our site right now, maybe it's easier to bring up the site here. In terms of like this kind of like magical line in the sand that everybody kind of like looks at here with this Nas, Reed, Rui, what's going on here? Like, I don't know how strong the Rui role is going to be. I think he has the best projectable role out of any kind of like fourth or fifth Lakers piece. I guess fifth Lakers piece. I wouldn't put him over Nas Reed there. I kind of like was ranking it like that, I think, at one point. But like, let's see, where'd we go here? There's Dalton. So Connect Four, if he just gets hot from three, he had a really good preseason there. If you look at, people are going to do this. They're going to hit the drop down menu. They're going to look at the box score and be like, holy fuck, he scored 35, 54 fantasy points. Oh my God. But like, if he gets 12 minutes tonight and gets like, I don't know, 4 3 attempts or something like that, like he could definitely matter in the last round there. So yeah, just thinking through some of that. Max Christie, kind of like similar in that same vein. We talked about the Tillman one versus like Cornette, how like Cornette gets drafted, let's call it at like a 30% frequency in the 6th round, and Tillman goes 0. I mean, we're talking about literally the difference of like if a backup 5 gets an extra 4 minutes. Like if Luke Cornett's first guy off the bench comes in there, we think Horford has a short leash, opening night, old guy, didn't play back-to-backs last year. All of a sudden, Cornette comes in on the floor. He gets 2 quick fouls. Tillman all of a sudden gets 3-4 extra minutes out of his run. There you just flip the projection instantly between those two. So just kind of like some scroll the F downs we're thinking through. Jackson Hayes, expect him to get almost all the backup 5 run there. Don't know how JJ is going to run rotations, but the way that the Lakers ran them last year, it's like 80 would like stay the whole first quarter, and then they would pull him off, and then LeBron would kind of pull off early in the first, and then LeBron would run the second unit and push on from there. So I have no idea what to expect if we're going to see something similar to that tonight, but maybe there's more backup 5 minutes available on the Lakers this year.
I agree.
Yeah, you think so? Maybe.
So I obviously just kind of jumped in. I was watching the start of it, off to a good start, and then the dude came, had to go deal with that. But we're back. I'm back. How are we doing, everybody? How are we doing, John?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Got 50 in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got 50 in so far. I think one macro thing that I haven't hit on yet, that now that we've brought up the platform, that people should be mindful of, was at the top of the board. We saw a projection flip overnight there between Karl Anthony Towns pushing up. So Cat was kind of like down here earlier. We were seeing this Brunson and Edwards paired together a whole lot. And then this one was closer before Tatum had like a 41 and a bit or 42 and a bit. So a lot of people were doing LeBron over Tatum. So just thinking through some of the combos at the front end of the board there.
Yeah.
What are you about right now, Nez? What do you like at the front ends here?
I think a lot of the combos are looking like very, very similar, which like I don't disagree with, right? I mean, when you're at the 101 and you get that 2-3 turn, that's automatic. That is automatic, like whoever you're taking there. It's the top 2 of whoever was left for you. Uh-huh. And a lot of the time it's the same combos, but you just have to take it. I mean, I love like given my my foresight on what I think is gonna win. And I think it's either 101 or 104 in this one.
Okay.
Would be my guess. As far just I like those combos the most. Like by like far and away. I prefer those teams the best out of my builds.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was talking through the 101 a little bit there, how it's just AD plus Gobert plus Randall over and over and over again. And then I was thinking through how like Gobert's ceiling outcome kind of negatively correlates with AD's ceiling outcome.
Yeah, a little bit. Mm-hmm. Nothing to like, avoid, but definitely a little bit. And also like this feels so much like the playoffs, right? Where it's like we're taking the projectable big man over Derek White, and then Derek White puts up 44 fantasy points. And I was never getting there because like why would I? Because ETR told me I couldn't. Like, but I haven't checked out the lines yet for these games, but I'm hearing a lot of talk about the Celtics just like laying the smackdown tonight.
I
I
I
mean, it's only a
mean,
6-point spread.
yeah,
I've heard that multiple times.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think through that a whole lot. I just kind of play this slate to the spread. They're like, I get the narrative. I guess it's opening night after they win the championship. You do the banner raise thing, and the Knicks on the other side have a bunch of new pieces that haven't all played together yet. Blah blah blah.
They're banged up too.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, interesting stuff there. This is an interesting one from Mike in the chat here. I was kind of poo-pooing the Al Horford one, kind of like he's been my favorite fade on the board right now. He's saying that maybe Big Al cooks tonight and then they let him relax against the Wiz on Thursday. I mean, that kind of checks out with narrative
Projections
as well.
have Al over Nas, right?
Most of them, yeah.
See, I like Nas.
Yeah, so do I.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I've been kind of, yeah, let's just walk it through now that we're back on the site here, and then we can rip a couple drafts in doing so. Like, I think everybody's kind of like AD at 1, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's not the greatest matchup in the world, but he's just the absolute fantasy monster, ceiling monster, right?
Hmm.
Are you doing Tatum or Braun or Brunson, or what do you like next?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely doing Tatum next.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, just kind of respecting that aspect
Mhm.
of this game is like Tatum is like locked in 102, so I'm taking him 102. You know,
Okay.
I'm letting RNG dictate how much Tatum and AD I get.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then do you have a lean on, like, some of the Braun stuff versus, like I mean, like, Braun opening night, his kid sitting on the bench watching him, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, like,
Uh-huh.
fuck. It's just, like, I know he's old. I know it's, like, new coach, rotations might be different. I don't know, it's crazy, right? Like
I get it, man. I get it. No, I have LeBron where you have it. I have
yeah,
LeBron 3.
yeah,
He's really good at fantasy, and like if when LeBron's healthy, you just take him, and he's typically always healthy. I mean, we're gonna get cute. Like this is the only time, John, we're gonna have LeBron without a Q tag. So I guess
mhm,
enjoy it because he's gonna have a Q tag forever and ever after that. But no, I've got LeBron here, and I think most people do as well. So this is like where you can start to kind of make decisions after this first three.
mhm. Yeah, no, I fully agree with you there. Yeah, like if we can project like a little bit of like decrease in the Brunson handling role because of Bridges or something like that, I think Ant becomes a better pick. That being said, like the ceiling of Brunson, we saw it through the postseason there when he gets his and gets his shots off. Um, you know, yeah. But Celtics defense, man, like we said it all last year, if he gets the Drew Holiday treatment, like that's not a matchup I want to be aping. So maybe give me some of this Ant stuff because we know Ant's an absolute dog.
I like the Ant stuff quite a bit, right? I
Mhm.
think this could be a pretty fast-paced game. LA and Minnesota. Like I
Interesting.
wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised if it turns out that like, oh wow, LA is like one of the teams that we like for fantasy this season with JJ, at coach there. Like
Okay.
if he's like, worth his salt and like talking, walking the walk, then LA should be pretty fun for fantasy. And I don't think the guards for LA or anything like I don't think Edwards is going to have too much trouble putting the ball in the cup today
Mhm.
in LA. I like Edwards a lot. I wouldn't be upset at anybody taking Ant 4. Uh I don't have like a strong lean here, but like I think Brunson is 4 for me though.
Okay.
And then Cat. I think Cat after that
So
in
you
New
like
York.
Cat over Ant then?
I kind of do.
Okay.
I kind of do, but I love Ant tonight though. But like I think Cat man is really set up for some monster fantasy games in this current iteration of the Knicks. He's
Mhm.
going to play like 38,
Mhm.
probably like maybe even 40, but I'll say 38 conservatively here with Tibbs. Uh he is like the 5
Yeah.
on the Knicks. And what do
Yeah.
they have behind him? Jericho Sims?
Yeah,
Like
which Nick informed me Tibbs doesn't like Jericho Sims. I was always of the notion that
Of
he
course.
loves Jericho Sims.
Well, see, I thought he did too, but now it actually
Yeah.
kind of makes sense. You know, Tibbs is not a Sims runner. Tibbs hates the Sims. Tibbs
Yes
knows
word.
ball.
Tibbs is a ball knower, hand on the court, bro. He does not run the S words.
Yeah. No, he never does.
That's so
Jericho
good.
Gumby is what we're calling him.
Jericho. That was good. Well done. All right. Yeah. So I think whatever you do with this upper echelon, like see as you see fit, different projection models are going to tell you like fractions of points different ways. I'm going to run like a 20 set with like LeBron and Tatum flipped. I'm going to run a 20 set with like Ant over Brunson. I'm going to do like some funny shit like this. I just think everyone's in agreement that this 6 is a tier, and it's kind of like Ant on his own, and then 5 as a tier. And then these next 3 are as a tier as well, and it's what funnels everyone to AD, Gobert, Randall over and over again. So maybe if you just want to quickly say, do you rank it like Gobert, Brown? What are you flipping these ones? Because what I was alluding to earlier is if you just run this over and over again, you're going to have all your Tatum paired with all your Brown, and you're going to have all your AD paired with your Gobert. Which is like, I think just bad. Like, I think that's flat bad, but like, that doesn't mean it can't get home.
I was doing like, I've done all manual drafts because I am not in the position to be autoing NBA, and it's fun. You know, it's the first day of hoops. I'm in there. I'm clicking the buttons. I'm keeping, you know, the game pure. And I was definitely doing, and not because like I was avoiding the double Boston thing. I just liked Randall in this spot here. So I was doing Randall like right behind Ant. So I had a lot of like Tatum, Randall. I have way too much Randall right now, like definitely more than like I am confident in. So kind of walking that back a little bit. But yeah, it's like,
are you concerned anything health wise for him, like minutes restriction, like not restriction, but like, you know, we haven't had anything reported from beat stuff today as I've been filtering through about restrictions on minutes and stuff. But he was the one red flag for me where it was like, if there's a guy that missed the majority of last year, missed all the postseason, who's going to be kind of like eased back in, that was also playing into my thesis of playing so much Naz Reid, is Naz Reid could, you know, run the 4 alongside Gobert as well. So that was just one anecdotal thing that I was thinking through that made Randall like my least favorite of the group.
Yeah. I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's bro science. It's bro science. I'm just asking.
Like, I mean, yeah, he's like, you know, I mean, as of, you know, 11 days ago, there's an SI.com, you know, story, and the headline is Julius Randle still strengthening shoulder ahead of debut. So, I mean, you'd like that to like not be a story. You'd like him to just like be fully healthy. So that's totally fair. Obviously, I'm just like assuming that he's healthy and ready to roll. I think Randall is, you know, ready to get some shots up, man. I know he's at a new team and everything, but not really worried about him doing the Julius Randle thing, which is, you know, what helps him in fantasy.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough there. Yeah. I just like in my mind, I was like the soft fade spots I was looking at because it's really hard to differentiate on a slate like this. And his soft fade coupled with pushing up 6 man of the year, Naz Reid, like made a lot of sense to me. When I was just like macro lens looking at the slate, but I see it both ways. I think the next little iteration here is really interesting because as the projections updated overnight as well, we saw a flippening of like the Bridges, Hart, D'Lo, and White kind of grouping. White was basically going over all of it last night. And then Bridges would routinely fall back to the right-hand side of the board. I think Bridges had like a 28, and then they moved it to like 31, and it shifts the whole landscape kind of thing. So stop if you heard me say this before, Nez. I'm fucking overweight Mikal Bridges tonight.
Are you?
It hurts. It sucks. It feels bad. It feels so bad right now. But the justification for it was where he was going last night when I ran my first 30 versus what I'm seeing today.
Oh man. I'm choosing to enjoy my first night of basketball and not selecting Mikal Bridges. I mean, I would love to know how much I have on him right now.
For those who are new, we have a couple phrases around here. in terms of never teams or never players. And Mikal Bridges is like the 101 of never Mikal in hoops for us.
Never, never, ever.
Never Dodgers chalk, never Mikal, never Coors. Like those are some of the staples right now.
16% Mikal, so that's a fade. That's a fade.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is one, that crazy ass shot. I was talking how he went 0 for 10 from 3 in their last preseason game. Mitch is with me. He's 50% Mikal. Genuinely worried about Mikal with his shot and stuff like this. I think the ball knower, hand on the court guys are genuinely concerned about him.
The shot looks weird. I'm trying not to like that has like really nothing to do with the fade. It's because I've done this song and dance with Mikal 82 times last year that I'm over it. But that doesn't help matters. I mean, just like in context here, I just like the Lakers guys more than Mikal today. So I'm doing that. I think Mikal's floor is yuck. It's not even 20 points. And Reeves and Russ, I think, like, have a much easier time hitting 30 today than Mikal does. And that's just how I've been playing it. I've got a lot more of those guys than I do Mikal today.
Yeah, I saw something in the chat earlier there about D'Lo and like the combination. Yeah, Philly's saying that like Coach JJ is a breath of fresh air for D'Lo. Like just let the three fly, because there were definitely times last year where like we saw D'Lo ceiling games like 50, 60 fantasy points when he was allowed to let it fly, and most of those games were when Braun was out, right? Like those were that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Sorry, if he just gets like, green light D'Lo all the time. Like we're going to play fast. We're going to have way more possessions than we've had in the past. These rotations are going to be slightly elongated, like depth-wise onto the bench, because they're going to be playing fast and they want to conserve LeBron's minutes and stuff like that as he gets a bit older. Like use the depth of the roster early and let him cook from three, kind of thing. I think it's an interesting thesis.
Yeah, for sure. I'm into it, man. I'm into D'Lo and Reeves.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. For you in this tier, then, were you taking them both ahead of like the Josh Harts, the Mikal Bridges, the Derek Whites, the Drew Holidays?
I don't think I was taking him over Hart, because Hart's gonna play 42 minutes tonight.
He's gonna play 47 if Tibbs wants him to.
Yeah, so that alone is tough. Although I really do think that the rebounding upside for Hart goes like way down with Cat on the court with him. But I was mixing in those guys over Josh Hart a little bit, but that's maybe something to correct as I continue to draft. I'm not maxing this two game slate.
Sure,
I did the crossover, got that out of the way. Did the 4-point play. I'll see how many mains I get in, but yeah, Josh Hart definitely going to be a part of those future builds for me.
Free spoke. This is good. Just went and drafted a Braun and Bronny team for the culture.
Tweet at us if you're for real. If you're really about it.
I love it, man. Dude, I think they make a thing out of it tonight. I think Bronny plays like, even if it's just like 30
first
seconds,
half minutes.
No, not first half. I think it'll be like second half. They'll both be on the floor together. I think they'll make like a thing out of it on ESPN. It's way too big a marketing opportunity to not.
Of course.
Yeah, like it's not going to matter at all from like fantasy standpoint and stuff like that. But they're going to fucking try. They are going to do it.
Oh, they will. They will for sure. Yes.
Yeah. He's going to play. Yeah, Consigliere comes in. He says he's going to play 5 possessions. I think that's right. Dude.
Dude, there's a underdog pick'em for Bronny points.
What is it?
0.5. Oh, you can't even take the lower. Come on.
We should do Bronny narrative. We should do Bronny narrative 1 bucket.
Dude, we got to.
Yeah. Rinpack, saying that Winhurst said that Bronny will check in to start the second most likely.
Wow, man. The second quarter?
Dude, this is legit. This is like Ken Griffey Jr. plus Ken Griffey Sr. vibes. Dude, they can't not allow it.
Listen, man. All right.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hate, but like, let's move on.
You got to do it, man. National television before the East Coast goes to bed and at like a smart point in which the rotation makes sense. So like LeBron comes on for the second unit, 80 takes a seat. Who comes off the bench? Jackson Hayes, Bronny Jr. They're coming
I
in.
want it on record
unit.
that I would love Bronny James to be successful. I think that would be such a cool story if he was successful.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I see. This is why we gotta get Rinpack on the show. Rinpack's got the meta here. For you guys who don't know, Rinpack's OG, like huge hoops guy on Redacted. Nike invited the Griffies. This
Swingman, man. Of course.
This is big, man. This is big. I love it.
I mean, have you seen this?
Get the
interview
balls in the building too. You know, get Lonzo Ball in the building too. Get the balls in the building.
Lonzo's got basketball to play, man.
That's true. That's true. I drafted him twice last night in the double dribble. Oh.
Have you seen the interview that Jaylen Brown did with Stephen A. Smith on his podcast? It's a really good interview.
No.
Made some comments about how like Nike has way too much influence in the NBA and in basketball in general right now, and how their hand is like way too heavy on the scales.
Mm-hmm.
Exhibit fucking A right here, man. Like, hey, JJ, like, what do you think second quarter? You know, ESPN runs a little sizzle reel. We got the Griffey sitting courtside.
Yeah.
Let's give Bronny some run in the second quarter. What do you say?
Dude, that's the complete opposite of the NHL and the MLB, because they would fuck this up so bad. NBA has like their
they're a little too good with it.
Right. NBA has their hand on like the button and they're like, yo, we can figure this out. We can make this work for us. Like NFL's pretty close with that too. Like, you know, all the jokes about the script and stuff. NHL's out here and they're like, yeah, man, we're going to do the Frozen Frenzy. We're going to do 16 games back to back to back. Let's do it on opening night of the NBA season. Like, that's what they're fucking doing tonight. Like, it's just crazy, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All right, let's keep talking through this a little bit. I have Holiday like a little bit down. I think it's like so my Holiday versus Brunson thesis, like a little bit of anecdotal there, but like I have them kind of like cannibalizing one another a little bit. You know, just Drew's a really good defender, and what we saw at the tail end of the postseason last year with him just getting his on those isolated nights where like him and Derek White would basically trade usage at points there. We didn't see it basically at all last year during the regular season unless they were missing bodies. So I'm kind of like my mind shifted back to the dailies of last year in the regular season where like Holiday's like, you know, he's a fine bet in the fourth round kind of thing. But like Holiday and Mike Connolly are only like 8 points different in my mind.
Yeah, I'm very surprised in projections that Holiday is over even, you know, the beloved McHale, over D'Lo, over Reeves. That didn't really sit right with me. So kind of like, you know, I'm taking some Drew now where like he's in that range of those guys where I would normally take them over Drew, but it just everything you said just checks out to me. Like he just really is not that really. He's rarely useful in the regular season for fantasy,
right?
But
and if you look at the strength of the Celtics rotation and the depth of their rotation, like the overlap is guards, right? You know, like it's like they want to give Peyton Pritchard some run. They want to give Sam Hauser some run, that sort of thing. And that undoubtedly comes at the expense of probably Drew.
It's kind of what I think. You know, he's not my favorite pick on the board, but like I like you said, obviously very good basketball player in real life. For fantasy, just like it's hard for me to click his name, but 2-game slate. I think it's important that pride gets put to the side a little bit more on here and we embrace range of outcomes.
Right. Sure.
So
yeah.
That's sort of me talking to myself with the Drew, like I want to fade, but like,
yeah,
man, these crazy shit happens.
Yeah. Okay. I think this next tier is like really interesting to talk through because I've been quite outspoken about like Nas Reed taking some of those Randall minutes, and then that makes Nas Reed a better click, in my opinion, than Horford and Connolly. I don't think he has as high a median projection, but like a mean projection. I don't think, but I think he has a higher ceiling projection, and that's something I've been aping into. And then the OG stuff, if OG rips away some of what we grew accustomed to seeing from Josh Hart last year, like just Josh Hart was everywhere, right? Like he was the Derek White of the Knicks without the shooting ability. Is that a good comp? I feel like it was like a good comp. Like
Derek
good,
White of the Knicks.
yeah, without the shooting. Like he was like a good rebounding, like yeah, like small forward / guard,
I
like
feel that.
good
I feel that.
rebounder. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, if we see some of that usage and some of that potential offensive input taken away by the fact that they have, more stuff for Cat this year, they have more stuff for Bridges this year, it just feels like OG and Hart, you have to pick a lane between those two.
Yeah, the OG is like a pretty interesting case too, where he's very like Bridges-esque to me.
Okay, how
As far
so?
as how he gets home, I don't think it's kind of stocks and boards, and OG will randomly put up like a 20-point night, like real life points, and that's when he like really goes off. Um, Definitely would be mixing him in because he can have his good fantasy nights, but mostly better in real life. Very
Sure,
similar
yeah.
to Drew in that regard when it comes to like fantasy.
Yeah, evergreen reminder that the stocks play better on our site than other sites. What are you doing with the Horford Connolly tier, Nez? Because I have been taking Dante DiVincenzo in the same vein as the Nas Reed ceiling chasing over this group. Am I a fish or is this intelligent?
That's how I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, been reading too some noise. I can't remember who I've seen say this, but like a lot of talk about Dante potentially like running point. With Conley off the floor, that'd be pretty major.
Yeah.
And I like Dante as a player, and to
Okay.
me, it does seem like there's a lot of opportunity for him to be useful for fantasy on this Minnesota team. It seems like he's going to be taking a lot of, like, I'd be surprised if he's not like taking, his fair share of threes on this team and like making impact defensively. I think Dante's good. I think the Timberwolves know this. I think he's going to play more than projections currently have it.
Mhm.
So he's one of my favorite clicks right now,
Yeah.
is Dante.
Likewise, if I could pinpoint what wins this slate, it's Dante falling to the 6th round because
100%.
other people in the
100%.
other people in the room are taking the projected ones better that are projected better on the site over him, where I get the
Like an
ceiling
80
output.
an 80 team with a Cat fall and a Dante fall is probably, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what we saw at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, someone said something in the chat here earlier about asking me automatic saying the 80 plus towns builds out there. I had one and it got canceled. I'm not sure it's going to exist tonight.
It will.
It might.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of like
Just
the GM that everyone's chasing.
You need to prepare yourself to see that, and if you don't like the idea of that, then do with
Play
that
the smaller
feeling.
contests.
Do with that feeling what you will, but it will exist, and if you think it's what you need, then adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
So real quick, in like 2 minutes, my wife is like doing her unpacking. I'm really hungry, so I had to get some DoorDash, and I'm gonna have to go pick up this DoorDash in like 2 minutes. It shouldn't be a long time. I just wanted to prep it.
Dude, you're a number one house husband taking care of your girl like that, dude.
I mean, until I start winning a fucking underdog again, I'm like, yes, ma'am. Like, what can I do? Like, how's your feet? You need a back rub? Like, what's up? How you doing, honey? Like, how can I help you? Yeah, it's don't leave me.
All right, Nez, let's talk about the scrolls here. I think Connolly and Horford and Rui are going to kind of like be the highest mean projecting ones there. And then you could add like Jaden McDaniels, good UW boy there, who's going to...
Everybody, it's so hard to go back from Jaden McDaniels. Thankfully, we're never going to have 2 game slates for a long time. We don't have to worry about Jaden McDaniels. But like, who amongst us has not confused Jaden Daniels and Jaden McDaniels in split speaking? Sorry, very funny.
So good every time. Yeah, so like they're gonna kind of be like the safest clicks just in terms of like projectable starting minutes. That doesn't mean they're going to be the best clicks. Um, for my money right now, I'm kind of like trying to shoot the moon with these back end picks. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll take Horford and Connolly if they fall to like these spots and stuff like that. But when it starts talking like Jaden McDaniels, like what's the ceiling of like Jaden McDaniels? Like 4 stocks and 3 threes? Like,
Hey man, be careful what you
it,
ask for. We
I
saw
don't know.
it.
We
We've
saw
seen
it one time last year in the postseason.
and it blew our minds.
It did blow our minds. Yeah, and I took a bath on that slate because of it.
Who
But
didn't?
I see it, man. I see 3 and D. I see. I would rather play Dante. I'd rather play Nas, and then I would rather scroll the F down here and find me some Pritchard taking some minutes
Yeah.
from Drew. I would rather guess who the backup 5 is for Boston. I think everyone thinks it's Cornette, but I think Tillman is a fine click. And then Dalton connect 4, man. Like I don't think there's any reason to think that him or Max Christie couldn't get hot for 3 with the second unit and matter on this slate, because I don't think they're going to play a ton of Gabe Vincent. I think JJ like will want to go with like see what we have in some of this younger movement.
Yeah, I Gabe Vincent not in my player pool, but Peyton Pritchard I think has a few different outs here. One, he's rotating in way more than he was last season.
Yep.
And 2, garbage time, and he's in there and he's lighting it up in the fourth quarter, and he's playing like 12 fourth quarter minutes. So a couple ways for him to get there. I know Gallagher and like the ETR guys are like super high on Pritchard and like him having like a sneaky ceiling, and and like when he's in there, like he's shooting, he's a bit of a gunner right now. So that has me pretty intrigued on Pritchard in those 2 facets for
Can we
sure.
bank on those? It was seemingly like clockwork last year in the postseason that he would hit a 3 from really, really deep right before the end of the second quarter or first half.
It was. I thought I was watching a replay at a certain point. I'm like, are you kidding me? This kid does it again. He's a really good player. So it wouldn't surprise me if he got a little bit of work in. Maybe they don't want to run their first unit quite as heavy on the first night. So I like Pritchard a lot in the 6th. Obviously, nothing earlier than that really. Especially if you are. Like I said, I was surprised the spread was as tight as it was, because I've heard, Celtics blow out a few times on different shows and talking to a couple different people. So I like Pritchard here. And then, 1 second here. I just want to make sure this food is. Yeah, let me go grab this food.
Okay,
I know we're almost done here. Like with this
I'll hop in a draft here. I got to ask you about my favorite click right now has been Miles McBride. Miles McBride's my highest owned player right now. I think he still has a handling role with the second unit there. Do you think he gets cannibalized by Bridges running the second unit? Do you think he's a heavy part of the rotation who gets like 25-ish minutes tonight that we can then, bank on some scoring upside?
Yeah, I love Deuce tonight.
Okay.
I think he's a really good click. Seems like he's going to be like one of the first people off the bench, right, to be subbed in. And then depending on how this game goes, could get more minutes than projected. I'm a big Deuce fan. I think what's most intriguing is he might have a bigger contribution than people really think coming into this game. I think looking at everybody has this notion, and rightfully so, that like Tibbs plays the starters, nobody else plays, and that's it. But what if it's not like that, quite as heavy? And I think Deuce is the way that can get flipped on its head. Sims apparently, I'm going to trust Nick on him not liking Sims, but I was with you. I thought Sims was going to see the floor here. Other than that, what's left? Like campaign?
Yeah, I'm not taking campaign.
12 points of campaign. Going to do it for you? Probably not.
Yeah, I've seen enough campaign in my life to know that I don't need that 14 points in the last round. 14 fantasy points. All right, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, Miles McBride currently my highest owned in the last round there, but could be cannibalized by handling rule for Bridges with the second unit. We will see. Hauser definitely worth a click. We talked about Connect 4. And then if you guys want to play the backup 5, The reason I say the backup 5 stuff is just because, we might get a little more Jackson Hayes run. We might get, I thought you left.
I'm about to. Yeah, sorry, I was making sure that was clear.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good. Yeah, I'm gonna hop in here. But the reason I keep talking about like the backup 5s and stuff is just the rates at which they can score fantasy points comparative to some of these other like off-ball guards, especially on our platform where like rebounds and steals matter, or I mean rebounds and stocks rather matter so much. Snap, Phil. Here we go. Yeah, 10K to first. Good to see the big one back here. Funny shit that I was reading today. So Deuce is called Deuce because he's the second kid, right? So his dad started calling him Deuce because he was the second kid. You want to guess what the first kid's first name is? Trey, as in 3. I mean, like, I just couldn't believe it. He starts calling the second kid Deuce. He called his first kid 3. So good, man. Oh, man. Yeah, we got Drap in here. Drap dusting it off. He was on yesterday. If you guys didn't check out the Dawg Bowl winner segment, winner circle from yesterday, Drap has 3 Dawg Bowl seats. Big shout out to him. Really fun guest yesterday. Look forward to hanging out with him in Dallas. I actually have a message here that I haven't read through yet, but we did get the definitive stamp of approval talking through the logistics of where we're going to run the shows from in Dallas and how we're going to orchestrate. And I think we're going to make a much bigger push this season than last. For those of you who watched the Dawg Bowl or followed alongside, I'm going to take Tatum here. I think you can do either. Actually, you know what? For the stream, I'm going to take Braun. This is Braun night. Braun shows out for his son. Braun's the guy you need. Sam Olsen can have Tatum here. And I'm going to do it for the stream because I'm going to show you guys that you just pair Jaylen Brown with him over and over again there. And I know I got 2 guys auto drafting behind me, so I can just go ahead and we get the classic run out here. And then I like Brown over this next tier. But now we're not cannibalizing the ceilings of our own lineup here by placing Jaylen Brown with LeBron instead of doing it with Tatum. All right. So back to the Dawg Bowl stuff. Yeah, we're gonna have a nice little setup there. Last year we did, a Friday night show to preview. Then the drafts took place on Saturday, and then on Sunday morning, Hayden jumped on with Pete and I, and we did like a recap of all the draft boards, what we liked going forward. So this is where I've been clicking bridges. Nez suggested that he likes some of the Lakers stuff. Let's go. D'Lo gets hot from 3. All those dimes come from Bronny. Not Bronny. Big Bronny. Big Bronny dad. Juice Recovery, I don't know, man. I've asked some questions. Who knows, man? Who knows? Never say never. Never say never on a potential something with hoops. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, this is good from Copper Price. I have a meeting on Monday, so we may have to make the winner circle. We might have to move it this week for them. I love it. Okay, I think the ceiling outcomes on a short slate of 3 Lakers paired together that are all on the first unit is probably not that great. So we're gonna go with our guy Nick here, and we're gonna take OG. Take OG here. OG usurps some of that the heart stuff. I think lineups that I have, like if I'm hand building lineups that I have Mikal, I'm not really gonna want Hart and OG. I think those are gonna find themselves kind of like narrower paths to first. But that's just kind of like bro science correlation stuff. It might not end up mattering when you get fractions of fantasy points separating the winners and you just jam the best plays in quotations. Interesting decision here. This is where I've been pushing up Naz Reid or Dante DiVincenzo. I think there's a path for both of them to have I think the error bars on their projection are the starkest outliers. And I think Naz Reid, non-zero chance that he gets his normal 6th man run, coupled with the fact that he can be on the court with Gobert as well and take some of those minutes from Randall. Randall right now, my least favorite click on the board. Just put that one on the record there. Yeah, him and Horford have become the kind of like soft fades for me. Pritchard is here for us. We could do. I think he's kind of like one of the best clicks left. It's Pritchard or McBride for me in a vacuum here. We could chase some of those backup 5 minutes from Boston in a lineup like this. I don't think Connect 4 pairs overly well with the double Lakers stuff, but let's go with Peyton Pritchard on this one. Just because I personally know that I have like 50% Miles McBride right now. So we got LeBron, Jaylen Brown, D'Lo, OG, Naz Reid, Peyton Pritchard team there. That was our 48th entry by the looks of it. 48th entry into the main. So that means we had 2, I guess, canceled on us before we started the show there, which is interesting. One of them definitely deserved to be canceled. Yeah, but then just here you go. What we were alluding to in terms of combos and stuff is WD Eversietti saying in here that, oh yeah, the WDW, Walt Disney World Eversietti. Now I remember. Just saying that he has an 80 Towns combo that hasn't been canceled yet. So I mean, it's out there. Just be mindful of it, but that shouldn't scare us off from playing the slate. I'm gonna do one more hoops draft here, and then I really want Nez to be here when we dust off the puck model, but I don't want this show to run forever. Oh, there he is. Perfect. All right.
GM.
GM.
How'd your team turn out?
Pretty good one. We had the evergreen McBride versus Pritchard decision in the last round there, and we flipped the board at the front end, taking LeBron over Tatum. So we did a LeBron, Jaylen Brown, D'Lo, OG, Naz Reid, Peyton Pritchard. There you go.
I was doing a little research while I was going down and grabbing some food, trying to figure out who from the Knicks bench could maybe, find in the most hopeless of places, looking for fantasy production. Knicks bench is the worst place to do that, but I think this kid is a rookie or maybe a second-year player. Their first round pick for the Knicks. I don't know how to say his name. Is it like Pachon Dadier? I don't know how to say his first name. Dude, this kid looks legit.
Patron, like it's Patron, like tequila.
No, like Pachon, like Pacome.
Yeah,
he looked good in the preseason.
All right,
6'8" guard. He had like really good. Like I'm just saying, man, he looked pretty serviceable. In the preseason, a lot I see a lot of Knicks commentary like hoping. I mean, this is how you know he's a good pick when they're hoping that he's playing tonight. But something to be on the lookout for. If we ever have some shallow slates like this, if Dadier came out and it's probably not even how you say his name, but it's Dadiet. If he comes out and plays 20 minutes tonight and he finds himself at 1.1 fantasy points per minute, look out.
There we go, baby. There it is. Them's the maths right there. Yeah, who else they got cooking on that bench there?
That's it.
All right, Nez, this is exactly what happens every single draft, where Tatum goes there, and then now all of a sudden you have the decision here, Jaylen Brown plus Tatum, and he's always going to project better, but yeah, do you take him every single time here?
Yeah, I take Randall, man.
Wow, couldn't be me.
You just told me how bad the Jays on one team is.
I agree. I don't love the negative correlation of those ceilings there. But Randall is low-key one of my least favorite clicks right now, and I'm sticking to my guns here. Randall, Horford, and Connolly. Those are kind of like my soft fades right now. Hart.
I'm soft fading Connolly as well. I just seen enough of his game to know that like I just don't think I need it.
Should we do the D'Lo thing here? You expressed some love for D'Lo's ceiling over kind of this tier.
I think so. I mean, White is probably like a bridge too far, starting off Celtic, but I think that's one angle to take. Is like, there's no way anybody that has a pulse that's actually drafting wants that. And it's a 2-game slate, man. Crazy shit happens. So I just don't think it's that crazy. It could work.
Yeah, no, definitely. It'll definitely be a unique here. Yeah.
Because jamming the best plays when you don't have a drafter in your lobby that's clearly setting you up for a unique best play combo, I think is better served getting a tad bit strange. But we also do agree that min caches can help keep you alive in these streets, but so can a strange shipper.
It's true. We get the Josh Hart kind of fall back to this side of the board. Hart versus OG. I mean, I've been team OG here, but
let's do it. Let's take OG.
All right.
I don't care about Hart like all that much to, if that's your preference, then let's do it.
It is true. I love that Randall has a revenge game versus like everyone on this slate.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, obviously not the Celtics, but like it's good. Have a few Tatum, Brown, Randall teams. Yeah.
Those feel good.
Yeah, you don't have to be worried about Edwards and Towns at all anymore.
It's okay to pair.
It's okay to put them together. Naz Reid goes there. This is where I've been pushing up Dante, especially when I don't have a T-Wolf on the team. So that's kind of where I've been at. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like Dante.
I think it also pairs better than trying to thread the needle of like Horford, Brown, and Tatum, because effectively, if you're going to win this slate, you need the high scoring players in almost every single round, or you do. You need the high scoring player. And I think it's going to be really hard to have a ceiling game from Tatum, Brown, and Horford. Because if Tatum and Brown cook, Horford's not going to be on the floor much longer. If they blow the brakes off the Knicks and they're up, 15, first guy getting his run capped is Al Horford.
Yeah. You need like a 4-for-4 from 3 night with like 3 blocks and
right. Yeah. You need the Brook Lopez.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Coach is actually drafting, or is he just regging one at a time and autoing that way?
I don't know. He might be drafting here.
Interesting. I didn't think that was allowed.
The old hand builders, baby. Pritchard goes there. We got Miles McBride, who has been my favorite last round click, staring us in the face here. We could do the Jaden Daniels stuff, who's going to have a higher mean projection, or we could scroll. Nez, where would you go?
No, I think I'm Deuce here.
All right. Deuce. While you were gone, I told the chat there that do you know Deuce McBride's? Well, first of all, do you know how he got the nickname?
No.
He's the second child born.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's how his dad named him Deuce. Okay. Now, do you know what the first child's name is?
No.
Trey. As in 3.
The first one is named.
First one's Trey. The second one's Deuce.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
That's not what I was expecting.
No, nobody was. All right, Des, I got about half an hour to rip here. Let's do 2 quick drafts and call it a show. Toe Drag Tuesday, I alluded to how it is the 16 games of puck, and they're doing what they're calling the whip around, though they should have called it the snap around or the wrap around or something puck adjacent there. But 13 games on the slate, which means you have an abundance of teams and lines to choose from. I would literally tell everyone that just don't. I could make a case to not take a single player with an ADP tonight. Not a single player. I've done 2 or 3 of these already, and I have not taken a player inside the 28 in ADP.
I mean, it's a fat slate, right? I mean, it makes sense. It's very baseball-esque where
There's 13 games.
yeah, it's insane. Uh, shout out to the hockey streets though. They've been doing their part filling these lobbies pretty, pretty healthy spot right now for hockey.
Mhm.
I know as we get into peak NBA season and baseball and BBM picks up that things kind of, dissipate a little bit. But I mean, shout out to hockey for the 20K slate here. And some pretty big slates all season. So good for those guys. I know they've been fighting for it and clamoring and doing their parts as much as they can. So that's just like that's great to see. I like everybody to be in good spots here. And you would think that we were in a freaking hoop slate here, man. Look at this. We got Chris, Sam Olsen, Sock Muffin,
Same
Noah,
sick bastards every sport.
it's insane. It's insane. And yeah, dude. So what's up with? Is it really McDuss season? This dude isn't the 101.
Dude, so well, first of all, loaded slate, obviously, but yeah, they took a while to win their first game, and yeah, they had to put the big line back together. I'm down to take McDust here, and we can do a scroll for a second line pairing because I do think there is a really good play with Connor here if you want to do it. I think the highest projecting line on the slate will probably be this Panarin one. This Rangers line against Montreal that Montreal's been so effing bad defensively and nobody's drafting Montreal. The Panarin,
they've gotten a little bit better over the years, right? They were terrible like a few years ago.
A few years
I
ago,
literally,
awful.
whenever I first started, doing like offshore stuff,
Mhm.
I was literally just like hitting Montreal like opposing money line like all day. And just like telling my buddies trying to like thinking I was smart, but I know they're sort of like inching toward respectability, right?
Yep. Yeah, inching toward respectability and a little bit of an uptick in goaltending this year and stuff. But in all the advanced puck bro metrics, they are down there with the likes of the Ducks and the Sharks and the whatever at allowing opposing teams to score there. Sam Olsen telling the people that McKinnon is the 101 on today's slate. I agree.
Okay, go.
That's who I would take there. That feels like a very interesting game there. Nez, so what I'm gonna say is we're gonna take Leon here. We're gonna stack this bad boy up. We're gonna put the two goats back together because they put the mega line back together. And then we are going to scroll the F down for a greasy team stack of two other wingers somewhere else.
Oh
yeah, buddy. Get gross out here.
Trying to think.
Cleanest path to first on low entries. Yeah, Jason asking, will this stuff get your draft canceled? When I do it, absolutely not. No. In general, no.
Not in hockey.
Not in hockey, not in baseball, rarely in football. In these correlation-based sports where things are binary outcomes, like a goal or no goal, a home run or no home run, stuff like this, dude, you just got to introduce so much leverage to this. Like, if McDavid scores like 3 goals tonight, congrats. You're still playing against a sixth of the field, and then you have to be perfect around it, right? Whereas like if you just stack the Kraken right now and play the other side of the game environment that Sam Olsen likes, well, maybe you're cooking there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me out on some of these greasy, nasty games because I pretty much only know the chalk.
Ooh, that's not gonna play well. Let's take Bouchard here then, and we go Edmonton PP1. This will be chalked up and put together, but we're gonna get like over and over and over again. That's the thing that happens with some of these line combos on these big slates is you'll kind of see the same stuff materialize over and over again. Like this one, Makar plus Miko is done like every single draft. But if it's the line you need, it's the line you need, right? But yeah, now we just got to find 2 wingers and a scroll the F down goalie to like pair it all together, Nez.
Well, I know some Pens.
Some Pens?
Got
No.
you on them.
Get me on the Pens.
What about J? Like why is J Rob free? Did they not know that they were just fighting for the cup?
Yeah, I think Dallas is a good spot, but they don't have anyone else Dallas to pair with it. The problem is Dallas runs like 4 good lines, like super deep. Let's see what the Kings got, man. The Kings, they've been on this long road
Fiala?
trip.
Kempe and Fiala, that's always like money.
That is always money. I'm down with it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
Kempe and Fiala is going to be the scroll the F down wings we need. There we go.
Do these guys get distracted when they're in Vegas, you think? Like, you know hockey players better than me. You think the bright lights and the, in the pits, like kind of suck these guys in when they're stopping in Vegas?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's not good then.
Oh yeah.
That's not good for our Kings stack here.
Tail end of a road trip too. Like
no.
They haven't played a home game yet.
Oh wow. So maybe they want to earn their fun. So they want to have a nice night. So then they can then go and have some fun down on the strip.
Damn right. You see a nice little scroll from the GOAT, Sam Olsen there, who goes, yeah, I'm playing all the chalk Toronto, but then I'm not doing Morgan Riley. I'm pairing it with OEL, who the Canucks are still paying for. Yeah, this is a fun scroll. Put Fiala there, and then we'll find a scroll goalie to go with it, or we can correlate our goalie with one of the stacks in which we have built here, because wins are a good thing to correlate. So if like Edmonton wins this game and it's up pace and there's lots of shots back and forth, because we know Carolina gets a shit ton of shots, maybe Skinner becomes a really nice play at the 10D position to add to this one. Yeah, this is a really fun slate just in general, because I think everyone should be scrolling all the way the F down for some crazy stuff. There are some really good hockey players who go undrafted. Like, I've been doing Bedard plus a little bit of the Vancouver stuff. Put Pedersen and Bedard together, add in Hughes, something like that. JT Miller might not play tonight there. Yeah, just dare to scroll.
So we have I'm surprised you didn't want to go to the Slop It Up Fest there.
What was the Slop It Up? What was the
slop? Ducks and Sharks.
Oh, Ducks and Sharks could get real sloppy.
And isn't your boy? Is your boy still on the Ducks?
Oh yeah, Big Z's.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
You love playing him.
I do love playing me some Z-Grass to a fault. Okay, let's see.
This is the toughest part, is the goalies for me.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't matter, but also like it does.
Right. Like you can just close your eyes and be like, it doesn't matter. Swayman going into Nashville. Nashville shoots a lot, and I don't know, maybe not. That one feels a little thin.
Don't take the Pens goalie. He's been ass.
Tristan Jarry. Good Ladner, British Columbia boy.
Well, not so good lately.
Let's do Connor Ingram here.
Okay.
Let's do it. Why not? That seems
I
like
can't give you a reason not to. I know his name.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I took him in the best puck.
Ooh,
there we BPC.
Go. The BPC, man. Dude, this is bad. He's not even dressing tonight. Oh, dude.
Are we swapping?
That's sad.
Jari. Yeah, no, he's been bad. He's been very, very bad.
They own a grocery store, like his family, and there's a mural of him on the wall. And it's called Jari's like grocer. Legend. All right. There was my puck draft for the day. Let's do one dog bowl and call it a show, Nez.
All right, let's get in there.
I have not done a dog bowl yet this week. I have not looked at the slate at all before the definitive preview tomorrow. Let's hop in here. 6 more spots for a dog bowl.
Are you teasing who's my replacement tomorrow?
I'm still working on it.
Okay.
It might be a solo endeavor. I hope it's not a solo endeavor, but I'm working on it here.
All right. Well, I can give you a head start here.
Here you go. So like Barzell, scroll down. Larkin, scroll down. I like this. Aho, way too low. Maybe that game's up tempo. The Carolina and Edmonton one. These are all great ideas of like very talented hockey players who aren't going drafted at all. Noah has a drafted Dawg Bowl. Let's go. I like it. Get in here, buddy.
Yeah, this is, where the time of week when I really like to be drafting Dawg Bowls obviously is before projections come out. Like our guests have said, it's sort of like a not so secret that you should be getting in here before before the field gets projections, if you think that that's your edge,
Yeah. Well said, good sir. How many have you done this week? Have you looked at anything yet?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten my entries in. I'm at 12.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of my volume is going to be before Wednesday. So, and I've got, the move and stuff happening this week. So it just all kind of makes sense, right? Like, hitting pre-projections, getting the volume in before I can really, do a lot of streaming and whatnot, but, or drafting. So yeah, this is a fun slate, man. I think one of the biggest question marks is like, do you think Jaden Daniels plays this week? He's a 6th-round pick.
Yeah. I mean, I think the initial listing of week to week versus day to day will get people a little skittish on that one. And I think that's why he's a 6th-round pick instead of like a 4th-round pick in a swap kind of deal. But
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think there's almost no downside to it in the 6th, especially if you run them naked. That being said, I don't know. It looked like a rib to me. What the shit do I know? Guys have played through way worse than that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because, I mean, I agree. I don't think he plays, but as of now, he is still available to be picked and swapped. So,
yeah. So you've taken him a couple times, I take it?
But
oh, no.
No, but like,
just thinking through it.
Yeah, I'm like, man, that could really just ruin all the early week leverage that I'm working on.
Sure.
Is to not have a piece of that. But yeah, it's not fun to play the swap game, but there's options. It's a 13-game slate, no buys in week 8 for some reason.
Directionally accurate, Nez. Yeah, for some reason it's weird. And you get a team that just played 2 games in London and then they don't get a bye when they come back. It's bizarre that there's no buys. Yeah.
How do the Pats not have a bye?
Yeah. I wanted Ken Walker there. I think there's a good case to be made for Ken Walker being RB1 this week. Nez, what do you like? What have you been doing here?
Drake London.
Atlanta versus Tampa Bay pass funnel. Will Tampa Bay have enough to push the pace the other way?
You just wide receiver, not good. 13 games, but everybody's hurt. I don't know if you've heard this, but literally everybody that is good at the wide receiver position is dying. So you got to take the guys that are left, and Drake London is one of them.
Okay, interesting. True ball knower here, GA, saying that it's Jags and Pats' choice to have a bye after London. Interesting. So they picked like another part in their schedule to take said bye.
The Pats. Okay.
Huh. Very interesting.
Didn't know you were allowed to have that say.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't know. Maybe that's just part of the agreement with the international stuff. Brock Bowers versus KC narrative has absolutely cooked. KC getting cooked by tight ends. Kamara versus the Chargers. Who do you like?
I like Bowers.
All right, let's do it.
I feel like 14 targets against the Rams.
Yeah, I feel like a fish taking a tight end early, but I don't really care which quarterback starts this week for them. I don't think it'll be AOC because he broke his thumb, but who knows? And Bowers is, if he had found the end zone on the big miss from Minshew 2 weeks ago and then last week, I mean, he would just be absolutely cooking. Him, Njoku, and Trey McBride are like the 3 best usages amongst tight ends, and it's hard to say otherwise.
Yeah, man, it was the year to really not take these elite tight ends. Certainly was.
Well, I don't know, man. Mark Andrews all of a sudden 2 touchdowns last night, and now all of a sudden, what is he? Probably like tight end, 8 on the season. Like it's probably gonna age all right, like those ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not like you're getting smacked in the dick by late round tight end either. I think that's the saving grace. Like Tucker Kraft had 2 good games. Tucker Kraft looks like the biggest outlier from like late, but like what tight end has hit?
Bowers.
Yeah, he was kind of like not late, but he was.
Kraft is a really big hit though.
Kraft is probably
it's not like uber impactful, but it's a really big hit though.
Yeah. I guess this is the best way to frame it. Just not Kincaid or Laporta. That was basically it.
Yeah. Yeah, my tight end is pretty flat in BBM, so
yeah. T-Bear saying that DJ Moore or a Doomsday is the play this week.
I mean, I don't disagree. I love the Bears, but I think the analysis for the chart for the Commanders they've warranted some nuance to like they're not the flowchart defense that they were in the past. I think that's pretty evident.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at anything yet, so I trust you in saying that. That checks out to me. Jordan saying Hunter Henry was a smash. That's a good one.
I have a lot of Hunter Henry. I have 25 shares in BBM, so we love that.
Yeah, Jason's saying the same there. It was suggested by Socrates to be like a late stack in Dawg Bowl. We saw it work once already. You could do worse. Rams might be getting back to full health here. Puka practice window opened. Cooper Kupp had the LP.
That's big. I don't know how soon he's going to get back on the field, but that's a pretty big deal, is it not?
Yeah, very much so. But man, for a full slate here, I was expecting to be like a little more enamored with some of the talent that we had to draft from.
It's not great.
We got Brian Robinson Brian Thomas and Kareem Hunt going in the 3rd round now.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Brian, I don't disagree with the Kareem Hunt and Brian Thomas picks, but
no, neither do I. I'm just saying, like, it's funny the name recognition relative to it.
What were you gonna say?
It's funny that the team that has the leader for MVP on their team leads the world in interceptions, hasn't played very well, but his team is 6-0, and they've basically built the entirety of their offense around making Kareem Hunt into Kyron Williams after taking him off the couch.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. This isn't a gambling show. I don't give advice, but I think that if you're like putting money on Mahomes to win MVP, I think that's one of the worst bets you could possibly make.
Yeah. I don't get it. QB wins, man. Like pitcher wins for the Cy Young in 1986.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Not my thing.
We're going to be up here in a second, Nez. The Mike Williams hamstring thing looked bad last night. He was ailing coming into the game, and then he was kind of like, grabbing his ass and stretching his stuff out. Javonte Williams has the nut matchup and is staring us in the face right now. That could be a fun one. Tank Dell versus the Colts. Like, I was just looking at the price tags for Shoutout and Dell. I mean, he had 2 red zone targets last week, but he scored 0 fantasy points.
Javonte. Yeah.
All right, dude.
Very, very similar setup to last week against the Saints.
Yeah, just like run funnel stuff, or just an ability to cook here.
Yeah, this game is should not be very close. The The Broncos look pretty respectable.
Yeah. T-Bear saying that the 4-hole's killing it. Yeah, T-Pastel had a nice night last night in the Primetime Palooza and is always hanging out, and that is a good team. I cannot disagree. Yeah, I'm trying to think like where some of the CLV would come from. Like the Achan stuff. The Miami stuff is going to be stone chalk on redacted. So like Waddle's ADP, Achan, Tyreek, like those would have been CLV spots, but they've probably already gone by the wayside here.
I think Garrett Wilson, if you want to play the CLV game, is the pick here. But
yeah, we're not scared about the fact that they looked inept last week, or we're not scared of Christian Gonzalez treatment or Adams or anything.
I don't think. I think Garrett Wilson is a very talented receiver, but we can take the PPR merchant instead for
Take
sure.
the merchant. No DK this week. Banged up Buffalo defense. Hawks roll.
I wonder if they're just going to do like a huge philosophical shift and try to establish it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've been very vocal about establishing it, and the game scripts haven't really like played out that way. And then every single week, Grubb's like, "Oh, we got to run the football. We got to run the football," and then they come out and they fucking sling it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
he should. I think it's a good pick because you will gain CLV. I will say I've seen JSN go in like the 5th in these.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a reach and a half.
Yeah, but you could always do a Geno double. That's gonna be all you. No one's gonna stop you from doing that.
As GA alludes to.
Crashers loves Jahmyr Gibbs this week, and I think he's onto something.
Okay.
Seen him do that quite a bit in these lobbies.
The expectations Montgomery won't play now?
Yeah, I think if we get some bearish Montgomery updates, and we've been on record on this show, or at least I've been on record that I just think the Titans are, a paper tiger on defense and haven't played anybody good. Sure. Lions just went to the bank and did work. So I don't think they're gonna have too much trouble against the Titans.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Can't argue that one.
But it is hard to like get him up any further because you need these upper echelon wide receivers just because you see how quickly things get poor at that position.
Yeah, there's a lot of Q tags. There's a lot of question marks. There's like, Marv Harrison after his performance last night, still going in the 4th round kind of deal, like Deontay Johnson. That's kind of a good click there. I don't know what the health of Surtain is, but
yeah, no, that's a good point. He's a fine pick. We just talked about how gross it is. Like you can't really get too down on a Deontay Johnson click. He's going to probably project pretty well, but I've got a lot of respect for the Broncos. So
yeah,
I don't know that I'll be there.
Let's think through some of this other stuff here. Justice Hill.
I think Chuba's gonna project well, but like that doesn't mean that we should be taking him, right? I think, not that we need to be focused on small samples, but we've seen this a couple times now where running backs with like projected super sick workloads get really good projections, and there's just literally zero consideration to the matchup at all, and they fail. So yeah. I think Chuba might be an IKB spot against this Denver team that just, shut shit down against Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very astute point. Yeah, Chuba's going to be one of those guys that, maybe the volume stuff doesn't project that well if we get like some Jonathan Brooks bullish news.
That's
this
a good
week.
Point.
But yeah, just in terms of like what we've seen the last couple of weeks volume, he killed our core pick'em last week. They had
0 targets.
Dude, trailing game script, 0 targets. Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, Dalton just fell flat on his face, and then Bryce Young played a bit. It's very interesting here. Like, I don't think DK plays, but like,
yeah, no. There's like no way.
Yeah.
He's certainly not going to practice this week.
I mean, Demont's not terrible here.
You'd get a swap.
I think there's a non-zero chance he could play, but I don't know how much CLV that introduces because it's not the greatest matchup in the world. We could do some Tampa bring-back stuff like Rashad White trailing script versus the Drake London stuff, and then stack Cousins with London.
I am into Rashad White. I'd say Rashad White or Lockett.
Right, let's do it.
I mean, Rashad White probably going to get fed. Yeah. I mean, it's him, Shepard, McMillions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not looking good. Trey Palmer. Anybody? Sign me up.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I mean, McMillions.
Those are the guys.
McMillions, it's interesting. McMillions just kind of took his role back last night and didn't really do anything to earn it, but he just ripped it back from Shepard.
I know, right? Like, okay.
Yeah.
That was all right.
I think there's some fun late quarterbacks, but I always feel that way in the Dawg Bowl. I think Washington might be like a little bit better than we've given credit there. But like doing like Baker plus Rashad here feels fine. Doing Cousins plus London feels fine. Doing Knicks plus Javonte feels fine. Which do you prefer of that whole group?
I think we stack it.
Which one? They all stack.
The one with with Drake London.
Okay. Kirk Cousins it is.
Did Gino go? Oh no, Gino's still there, but yeah. I think Gino doubles is viable.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That looks like a good spot. I'm going to do the bulk of my research tonight. My sister's birthday, we're doing lunch thing and then doing something later with them as well. But then I'm going to go play a little puck. And then after puck, I'm going to do the old deep dive, Nez. I'm going to get in the lab. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to be hyper focused, come up with all the best plays, bro.
I know you will. Everybody, people don't come for you for the scrolls, John. They want to know.
They want to know the best play.
They want to know the shell.
We're going to build the shell, dude.
The BR shell.
The BR shell. Yeah, liking some of the things I'm seeing going down here. Like, obviously the Baltimore stuff is just going to be so expensive now. Yeah, I think Ken Walker. I'd rather have Ken Walker over Mixon. Like, I'd rather have Ken Walker over almost anyone at the front end of this stuff. The Miami is going to be like everyone's just going to treat it like Miami's back, but like Achan's going to be a big riser. That's like the most obvious one to me right now.
Yeah.
I think Javonte is probably a good one. R.I.P. J.K. Dobbins believers last night. That was fun.
Even Tyreek Hill is going to move up. Like he'll probably solidify himself as a top 3 pick, but once projections come out and like we get confirmation by Sunday, he's a top 3 pick. If Tua, unless like Tua obviously is not active, if Tua is active, Tyreek Hill top 3 pick. Like I would be shocked if that was not the case. It's the 103 in BBM on a slate with no good wide receivers. It's not. I guess talk me off it.
No, I don't think I'll be able to yet. Yeah, and their secondary got even further banged up last night with Sean Murphy-Bunting got hurt too. So even the guys that we were looking to exploit, now there's guys behind them that you can even exploit. Like that Arizona team is depleted on defense, but they did show out a little bit last night. Yeah, I guess the big thing will be like those will age well if we get to a full. They'll be the worst picks on the board if we get to a DNP LP question mark.
Yeah.
This is funny. See, like my thing, Mark, was like last week I thought Tyreek was crazy good leverage. That's why I was so over him. I wouldn't have been over him if he had like an ADP of like 18 or 19. I did it because not enough people were taking him in the 6-persons. So I did it in the bombs. I did it in the. I didn't do it. I did it a decent amount in the dog bowls, but the vast majority of my exposure was from the 6-mans where he was going undrafted, and especially the higher dollar 6-mans because nobody wanted to touch him. So I was like, if the most talented dude just go burr out of the bye week with a backup quarterback and get schemed some shit, I'm breaking this slate with one click. And then everything else that I played on those lineups was like the good chalk that I liked, like the Walker, the London, the whatever. But it wouldn't have mattered because I didn't get to the Gibbs stuff. But yeah, I'm a little gun shy, price sensitive right now.
You can't even get clowned on for that because, like, everybody else tell us your plays that made money. Like
no, yeah, it was just like I was just explaining my reasoning for it was like that, and then I was doing the Mason agnostic to matchup over Gibbs and Mixon at ownership because I would get a discount there too. So yeah, I just scroll, baby. I just scroll. But yeah, there you go. If you can get Tyreek with any of the top 3 running backs, it's too good to pass up today. I do agree that would be a good closing line value spot in the 6-persons for sure.
Yeah, if you can do that, then GG's.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, it's a fair point. Not showing off again. Chargers wide receivers. I don't know why Ladd wasn't mixed in more. It was just like looking at Disley over and over again. But
that game,
classic Herbert, man, throwing for almost 400 yards and then no touchdowns, no nothing.
God, that was so frustrating. Oh my God, man. I can't stand the Chargers.
Play basketball and hockey tonight, guys. And we'll be back for the football stuff tomorrow. All right, Nez, got a tie bow on this bad boy. Take care, Mr. Good Boy, and get going here. Best of luck to everybody in the hoop streets tonight. Tons of contests available with multiple price points. Hop on in there. If you did not see the definitive preview, go back to the beginning for that. Hit that like, hit the subscribe, all that notification bell stuff. Say goodbye to Nez for the next 2 days here. He's going to be doing the blue collar labor that is becoming a homeowner. Big congrats to you, bro. And yeah, I don't know. Anything else for the people?
No, be back Friday for Off and On the Clock. Make sure you guys come back and support Jon as he tries to do this thing without me. I know that's such a hard task, but just give him a lot of encouragement. Let him know that he's doing a good job. Like the video for him. That would really mean a lot. Yeah,
I'm quite sensitive. I need to be like built up, guys. Like I'm fragile out here without Nez.
We can't fall back on our performances on the dog app, so we really rely on you guys to build us up in our confidence. So thank you in advance.
Oh, very well put. All right, do us a favor, hit the like, subscribe. Everybody's favorite time on the show. Oh, shoot. The end. Peace. Good luck tonight.